If you have double track or low headroom, see your installation or supplemental manual for installation instructions. Next, we will secure the EZ Set brackets to the jamb. To avoid splitting the wood in the next steps, drill 3 16-inch pilot holes where the 5 16-inch lag screws will be used. Using two 5 16-inch by 1 5/8-inch lag screws, secure the bracket to the jamb. Use the slots closest to the flag bracket if possible. Make sure the carriage bolts are tight and the bracket is seated securely against the jamb and the flag bracket, as these brackets will be under strong spring tension. Do this again for the other side of the door. Next, lay the springs flat on the floor and measure the length of each spring as shown here. Record these measurements as you will need this information later. Note that on this configuration the green spring will be installed on the left and the orange spring on the right. Now slide the spring onto the torsion tube as shown here. You may need to work with the alignment to get the tube to pass through the spring spacer inside the spring. Then do the same for the right spring. Insert the spring plug into the winding unit. Ensure that the spring plug and the winding unit have the same color code before snapping them together. Line up both ears on the spring plug with the two slots in the winding unit and push them together, as shown here. Make sure that both ears of the spring plug are fully intact and engaged into the winding unit slots before proceeding. Also, check that the drums are oriented so that the slots are facing away from the winding unit or units and the end bearing support, as shown here. The drums are designated as left side and right side by the letters L and R respectively, found here near the cable slot. Next, carefully lift up the torsion tube and components and place the ends of the tube in the cradle of each bracket. Lift the tube away from the brackets to slide the drum in between the bracket legs and engage the winding unit rails in the bracket slot. Now, push the winding unit rails into the bracket until the unit bottoms out. Now, go to the other side and repeat the procedure for installing the winding unit in the bracket. Next, center the tube as equally as possible between the brackets, so that an equal amount of the tube is extending from each side. The following procedures are for doors over 10 feet. If you have a smaller door, see your manual for installation instructions. Next, snap the center support onto the center of the torsion tube. Then position the center support to make sure that the tube is straight and level. Add shims behind the center support if necessary to make the tube straight. Mark the position of the center support, then drill 1/8-inch pilot holes where the lag screws are to be attached. Then fasten the support with two 1/4-inch by 1-inch lag screws to the header above the center of the door. The lag screws should be located at opposite corners of the center support as shown here.